And hello once again. Thanks for joining us. Luiz Lima here, broadcasting from Orlando, Florida. You are on Kardec Radio, and this is Spiritism, a closer look. We are here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. For comments and suggestions, I always like to give you this. You have our contacts here on the bottom of your screen. You can always get in touch with us for comments, suggestions, to request topics so we can discuss as well. Okay, Spiritism, a closer look. Tonight, we're going to take a closer look at the celebration of life. Celebrating life is something that we usually don't do, at least throughout our lives. We want to take a closer look at this. Why not? So I think it's going to be interesting. By the way, if you are following us live, right here on Kardec Radio, the program before us, we had Carol Correa, and she read a just beautiful message by Carlos Pastorino. And the message talks about our thoughts and how they shape our lives. And that kind of goes along with what we are going to bring for discussion today. Let me start by saying this. Typically, this is in general, humanity. It's not us, it's not a country, it's in general, humanity. A typical celebration of life takes place when somebody dies. When somebody dies, the funeral, right? The funeral becomes this kind of, I would say, milestone maybe for life celebration. It shouldn't be. Shouldn't we celebrate life as we go along? Our life, your life, our friends and family members' lives. We should do this as we go along, but for the most part, we don't. So at the funeral, it is very common for people to say nice words, some of the narratives and experiences that the person who died had. Usually it takes a speech style tone. So this is called a eulogy. That's what we call eulogy. So eulogy is this thing that somebody writes, usually following an invitation from a family member or something. And then this person writes and reads it out loud at the funeral. It wasn't any different for Allan Kardec himself. When he died, one of the members of the Parisian Spiritist Society, Camille Flammarion, who was also a close friend and a medium, right? A lot of the book of Genesis came through his mediumship, but that's a whole different story. So Camille Flammarion wrote and read the eulogy on Allan Kardec's funerals. An eulogy bears praise. Nobody's going to write an eulogy to say something bad or questionable. No, it focuses on good deeds. That's what an eulogy is. So I want you to follow here a line of thought and see if you can go along with me here. Imagine that somebody who is alive now and you really admire, but is not a family member, no family, no close relation, nothing. It could be a public figure, celebrity, idol, an artist, a singer, someone like that. But somebody that when this person, let's say you just turn on the news and the news is that person that you really admire just died. So it is natural that it kind of brings some sadness to us, although we never really met the person, but for some reason there was a connection there. We admire that person. So I want you to think about that person. Who would that person be to you? And it's different for everybody. So think about, just, in your mind, just bring up the image of that person, whoever it is. So that person just died. You just saw on the news. And you are invited to write an eulogy for this person's funeral. So now you are in charge of writing the eulogy. So first of all, whatever you write is going to be made public. It's going to be out there. And somebody not necessarily you, but somebody's going to read it out loud. So it's going to become a public thing. In this eulogy, you're going to do what an eulogy is supposed to do. You're going to write about, some narratives with the experiences that this person had, but it's only good things, nothing bad. Usually, we tend to write on things that are relatable to us, not necessarily to others, but to us. How this person's life impacted my life. That's very common to be included in there. And remember, an eulogy is about the good things that the person accomplished. So as you say, or as the eulogy is read out loud, in a way, we are celebrating this person's life. Again, even if it wasn't anybody that we had any sort of relation with. But that life is being celebrated. But it's only after the physical life ended. So how about all these things that we just said on the eulogy? He did this, he was great on this, on this, and this. Wasn't that ever celebrated? It should be, right? Okay, so let's go to one layer up from here. So first we spoke about a person that we have no relation with, but we just admire. Now we're going to move on to something different. Your romantic partner. If you don't have a romantic partner, whoever would replace this romantic partner, because it's so important to you, it's so much a greater part of you, that for our line of thought here is going to be your romantic partner. So let's just say that you're at work or somewhere, not with your partner, and you get a call and they're gone. That's not easy. That's shakes up the world, getting news like that. So now you're going to write the eulogy for that romantic partner of yours. What you going to say? Are you going to say all the bitter things that took place in everyday life? Those little tiny things here and there. Is that what you're going to put on the eulogy? Better not, right? What the eulogy you wrote is telling you, whatever you wrote, but what the eulogy you wrote is telling you is what you need to appreciate and value today, now, on that person. Isn't that what an eulogy is? Praise, good things, good deeds. So those are the things that meant something to you, and they are good deeds, and they are supposed to be appreciated. We should appreciate and value these things. You see, it's what they are. The person, your romantic partner, it is what they are at their best to you in your own words. It's not somebody telling you he was this, he was that, she was this, she was that. No. In your own words, coming from within, comes from your heart, comes from your soul. So obviously, we're going to cry. But you see, crying tears of joy also for the opportunity of having them in our life. And that would be a big, huge part on celebrating this person's life. That's just part of it. It might not be on the day that this happened, 2 days later, 3 days later, but this is what we need to remind ourselves of. If our romantic partner is pronounced dead unexpectedly. Nobody wants that. So all these things that we wrote, all these nice and beautiful eulogies that we put our hearts out to produce, is celebrating this person's life. So why not thank them now? Why not love them now? Why do we have to experience pain to produce that? Isn't it kind of, questionable, to say the least? We should question ourselves, and myself included. When I say you, of course I'm including myself. It's just a way of expressing using the language. But you see, we should thank them now, celebrate them now. And now we're going to go to the next level. Okay, so we did somebody that we are not related to, we just admire. We did our closest person, romantic partner. Now we go to the next one. And the next one is yourself, myself, ourselves. So sit down and write your own eulogy if you die today. This can be read in two ways. Yourself reading it when you die, or somebody else is going to read it. Whatever the case would be, hypothetically, of course, whatever the case would be, the eulogy has to be the same in both cases. Because if they're not the same, if they do not reconcile as a spirit, we are a single unit. The spirit is indivisible. So the eulogies have to be the same. It cannot be, this is what I think of me, this is what they think of me. If you die, when you die, not in life, not when you are living, but when you have a different perspective on life after death. You see, if the eulogies are different, you're not in harmony with the self. Again, the eulogy, when you write your own eulogy or any eulogy, you got to stick to goodness. And if you stick to goodness as you write your own eulogy, why can't you stick to goodness now altogether, celebrating your own life, always, every minute? Why not use that goodness all the time to offset what we might have done wrong in the past, or things that we did that were not so good in past lives and, past experiences? Right? If we celebrate life, we're celebrating the good things of life. Nobody's going to celebrate anything bad. It's the good deeds. So let's live our lives using only the qualities we want to be said at our eulogy. That's interesting. Think about this. That means we should live our lives being kind, much more than aggressive, being loving, much more than resentful, and on and on and on and on. Spiritism teaches us how to think differently. It gives us a completely different angle of looking at life, to the point that things become sometimes hard to understand. But once you grasp the meaning, then yes, it's easy to understand. For example, we are going to be meek only after being aggressive. We are going to be patient only after being impatient. We are going to be forgiven after denying forgiveness. We are going to be good after being evil, and all like that. So all these bad things, being evil, impatient, aggressive, all these things that we mentioned here, and that's the important thing, they shape the way towards a better life. They shape our way towards a better life. Think about this. Here's an image. Put this image or create this image in your head. A highway. Okay, so here's a highway, straight through, just like that. It goes straight, no curves. You can barely see the end. You cannot see the end. Very straight. However, this highway has guardrails on both sides. What are these guardrails doing in there? They are shaping the way. So if you tend to go off track, you're going to hit the guardrail and come back into the main road. And if you hit the other side, you're going to come back, and they shape the way towards our path, on our path towards happiness and perfection. So the guardrails are necessary, and we collide with them all the time. So the challenging moments that we have with our romantic partners or partners, these are collision points where I collided with a guardrail and I'm going to be coming back. They will make me go back to the default course. Do we need guardrails? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Without them, we go off track. They are, we can put in quotes, the necessary evil. They shape the way for us. They are not bad. They are not there to harm us. They are there for a reason, because without them, it would be a disaster. So every smash against the guardrails should be celebrated in that sense. What does it mean in practical words? I had a fight with my partner, colleague, whoever. Why did we fight? What was the reason? Oh, I got aggravated because of this, and he got this, and she got this. All right. That's us colliding with the guardrail. Let's make the best experience out of it. Like Spirit Lacordaire says, let's suffer well and quick. So we don't have to hit the guardrail, collide with it again and again and again for the same reason. You see, the problem is how we see that collision. We might see that collision as something bad, I'm being punished, everything is wrong. Or we might be more spiritist and come up with, okay, that's not my Himalaya, that's not my Everest. That's only a stepping stone that shapes my way towards a better person. So, you see, when you write your own eulogy, think about you lighting up the room, every room that you always walk into, every place you go. You light up people, you light up the environment. People are happy to see you where you go, where you are. People celebrate your life because you are celebrating your life, and it's contagious. It's not that you're right there because you were called in there because they are going to celebrate your life. No, it's the other way around. Because you celebrate your life, it becomes contagious. So we walk into a room, a party, or a place, people just light up. So, in what way do we want to be loved? How do we want to be loved? So, when somebody writes our eulogy, do you want just a couple of words because there's nothing else? It's empty? Or do you want a very long and inspiring eulogy? Personally, I'd like a very long and inspiring. but it's a personal decision. Personal, not transferable. It's different for everyone. In order to produce this eulogy, we need to focus on where we want to be instead of focusing where I was or I have been, because that puts me in the past. I want to grow. I want more. I want better. I don't want bitter. That's a very interesting phrase written by author Eric Butterworth. Quotes, please. That's not my phrase. Quotes. We can become bitter or better as a result of our experiences. End quote. Depends on what it means to us. We can be bitter all the time. Everything is a problem. Or we can be better every day because everything is shaping my way to be better. You see, we create our own heaven and our own hell. And like Allan Kardec said, right? We take our heaven and our hell wherever we go. There's a very interesting book. The title of the book is actually a popular saying, became a popular saying. And the title of the book is, Wherever You Go, There You Are. And that sums up a lot. That sums up a lot. I'm going to say that again. Title of the book. Wherever you go, there you are. So when you move from one place to another, because that place is not good for you, and you go across the world, across the globe, to the other side of the globe, it's you there. And you took with you your heaven and your hell. Same for me, same for all of us. We create our own reality. And this is important. We create our own reality. We create our own life. If we are the creator of our own life, why not celebrate our creation? Why not? Something that I created, and I'm going to celebrate. So our thoughts are the driving force behind all of our actions. And if we have negative thoughts or negative views on life, that's going to complicate everything. So we should just crowd out these negative thoughts altogether. Happiness and unhappiness are not facts. I'm going to say that again. Happiness and unhappiness, they are not facts. They depend on perception. They depend on perception. How we perceive what we created. So we could say that life is the context that we create to live the experiences that will allow us to become a better version of ourselves. Life is the context. We create that context. When do we create this? Before incarnating. Before incarnating, we create the context for our next life. That's this one. We created this. We created the context that we are in. What was the reason that we created that? Because we need to live through the experience that will allow us to be better versions of ourselves. So if I created all of this, why not celebrate? And I would say more. If I created all of this, why not create a content for an epic eulogy? Can you imagine when you go, me, all of us, at the funeral. Long, beautiful, inspiring, moving eulogy, because we've done so much, we've accomplished so much. We were, the number of good deeds that we had is so many, so much of it we did. Wouldn't that be nice? You would. So why wait for the last day? Let's just reward ourselves by celebrating our life. When we celebrate our life, now, not when we die, when we celebrate our life every day, now, others around us can benefit from it because they are watching us. That's what I call light up the room. When you walk in, as you go along, as you go, you light up everything. That was what Jesus did. He was walking with people, would gather. He never called, hey, you come here, you come here, you come here, join me here. I need people around me. He never did that. It was a natural thing that people were, driven towards him. So let's reward ourselves by celebrating our life, celebrating the life of our loved ones, our romantic partner, the one that's with us every day, and just being part of it. We are part of them as much as they are part of us. Again, others benefit from it when I do it. So that's the idea behind celebrating our lives, or celebrating the life. Thank you so much for being with us once again. We're going to be here next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.